Hi.
Nice to see you again.
That's me.
Yeah.
Hey.
You're so pretty.
Thank you. I made sure to wear my best cardboard box today.
Yeah, I see this is the one without the stains.
Yeah, I figured, a new box was needed today. This one is a microwave box.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm, yes.
Yeah, I see the safety label right there.
It reminds me of chicken every day.
Oh, and I see you've joined us as well. Thank you.
Welcome to the Boxcar. We're your Boxcar buddies.
That's right. Here to derail the drudges of everyday life.
Why don't we introduce ourselves?
Alrighty. You go first.
Well, I am hobo number 1 in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. You can find me at the end of the credits there. But most people know me as Greg Broderick. I am a Philadelphian turned Chicagoan, a wannabe comedian, and big ugly boy. And I would say that of the two of us, I am the video game master.
I would say the same thing, yes. You are, I do play, but I bow to your expertise and knowledge on the subject.
Thank you.
Look at me. Look at me.
I'm-
Look at me bowing over here. You see me? You see what I'm doing for you?
They're looking at us in the boxcar right now in our beds of hay.
And they say, go away.
Go away.
Introducing myself, I am hobo number 2 in my credits.
You're hobo number 1 in my heart.
Oh, so sweet. And my name's Don Kleppen. I am born in Wisconsin, raised in Chicago, kind of been bouncing around. And I would say that I'm an escapist of all sorts. I'm addicted to all kinds of content. And, you know, I consume Netflix, I read books, I'm watching movies, I do play games, like I said, listen to music, watch sports. Anything to kind of just unplug from the day-to-day living, working like we all do.
The horribleness of reality.
A job, bills to pay, stresses, wherever they're coming from. The reason we all jump into stories is because they provide an outlet from the drudges of day-to-day. So that's
Because
why
who wants to be weighed down by Nazis?
certainly
and-
not me.
No, not me.
And they're heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
they carry a lot of heavy equipment.
Yes, they do.
They also have very big heads.
Yeah, they're heavy and heady. And not in a good way.
No.
Not like
no.
their heads are filled with, complex ideas and forward thinking.
You would think that their heads would be full of chocolate, but no.
No.
It's just hate and vinegar.
Disgusting.
Disgusting.
Doesn't taste well at all.
No.
And so Greg and I here have found this boxcar underneath, a pretty well-known intersection, an overpass, actually, of the Edens Expressway. Chicagoans will know. Mm-hmm. And we like to linger around here at least one night of the week and kind of talk to each other about, what sort of crap has befallen us over the past week. And if we've managed to find ourselves outside of a storefront window where we can consume some of this content for free, and before we get shooed away anyway. And then we'll review what we have gleaned from
Yes.
said content. And we also get to enjoy each other's company.
We do. We just like to talk to each other because
Yes.
usually we can just talk about any form of bullshit that comes our way, anything that's, tickling our minds and our fancies, any form of hypotheticals. If we were normal, regularly paid, upstanding citizens here in New York, but New York, Chicago.
Yeah, wherever we are. It's a boxcar. In this boxcar, we can go anywhere.
This boxcar is on its way to your heart.
Yes, it is.
So here we come.
Open that
Choo
garage
choo,
door.
motherfuckers.
Open that heart garage door up and let us park it, because we're coming.
We're invading your privacy. We're gonna have a soup kitchen in your garage.
Yeah, but I wouldn't eat too much of it. There's definitely some poisonous material in there, and I'm not a great cook, so I burnt my tongue.
Soup
a long
kitchens
time ago.
is slang for hobo orgies.
Wow.
A hoborgy.
Is it really a slang, or is that?
Yeah, a soup kitchen.
Whoa! I always when someone says
You
soup
ever
kitchen,
partake in a soup kitchen, Don? Have you ever
Not to my
dipped into
knowledge.
some tomato bisque?
yeah, once or twice.
I had a little French onion this afternoon.
Look at that
Woo.
bisque. Look at the size of his bisque.
Whoa, his croutons are in your face. Look out!
So this is our first. We just found this boxcar, and now we've set up. And
I mean, we've already set up the barbed wire fence, so
yeah,
I mean,
so
this
we're
is our
protected
boxcar.
for a bit.
But feel free to come on by. The campfire is warm. The rats are a steaming, and Why don't we talk about some stuff that we've been tiddling our tiddles in?
I would very much like to do that. I will. This is our first week of this again, and Greg, I'd like to start by talking to you about a book I read.
Ooh.
I know books aren't the most exciting form of content consumption, but I will
It's
say...
also usually used for toilet paper, as for
Usually.
two men that live in a boxcar.
Usually, especially the hardcover versions of those books.
It's pretty rough to wipe with one of them.
It's my teepee, though. I'm into it. I'm into it. And anyway, before I did wipe with this particular book, it's called The Three Stigmata of Palmer Eldritch, and it's by Philip K. Dick. Great name.
That sounds like there's going to be a lot of words in that book.
Yeah.
That I will not read.
It's not too long. It's about 230 pages, and I believe it's from the late 90s. And Philip K. Dick, if anyone's familiar with his work, he wrote books... Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which became Blade Runner. He wrote Minority Report, Total Recall.
He was also a very creepy recluse, who just pretty much stayed inside his house and fantasized about his mom and his sister all day.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. He was definitely...
Philip K. Dick was
definitely a strange
creeper.
character. Definitely a strange character. But I mean, come
someone
on.
that's welcomed in a boxcar.
Yeah, he would have been fine in this crew. I'll tell you, he would have been a welcome addition. But but anyway, a little about the book. You know, I just like most of the other Philip K. Dick stuff I've seen, it plays with a lot of themes about identity, about the future, about where humanity's headed, society. I'll say that this book it involves a futuristic colony of humans. Like Earth is the center; it's like the capital of an intergalactic society now, right?
Of course it is, because Earth has to revolve around everything,
right? And then these humans have been sent out on ships to colonize other planets, most notably Mars, currently in this book. And so the book sort of kicks off with these colonists on Mars, and there is this drug which is extremely popular because it's how the colonists escape from the drudges of their day-to-day life, which is only trying to get a garden to grow, trying to populate this desert of Mars. You know what I mean?
So it sounds like The Martian with Matt Damon, but, you know, with a lot more...
A few other people, and it's more futuristic.
And incest.
Right. It's more futuristic. If you consider The Martian with Matt Damon like that hard sci-fi, which is actually attainable somewhat in today's
reality,
world.
It's not like a Star Trek based where it's like, well, we just hit warp 9 and we're now 7 galaxies away.
Exactly, or Star Wars for that matter, where there's just
Star Wars
Wookiees
ain't fucking sci-fi. Yeah, that's a fantasy.
It's a whole new thing.
It's Space Knights, you fucking nerds.
Sorry, but. Anyway, so there's a lot of reasons to read the book. There's a lot to like about it. It follows this one character, Barney Mayerson, who's a precog, and what a precog is someone that's employed by a fashion company to look to the future because they can get flashes of what future life is going to be like, and they try and determine what products are going to be huge successes, huge hits. And so when the precog tells the boss, hey, this lady who makes these pots are going to sell like crazy in the next 4 years. So then the fashion company purchases the product based on the recommendation of the precog, you know?
So that's kind of like a Minority Report where it's like,
exactly.
Oh, I know you're going to be a criminal in 2 hours, so
right.
we better stop you.
That's where the precog whole concept comes from. It's a little different and used for different, reasons.
Less Tom Cruise-y, less,
yes.
magic people put into, water tubes.
Right. I'll try and quickly give an idea for what the one drug that's really popular does. The drug
gets you high.
It gets you high. It gets you thinking differently.
What a fucking concept.
It sort of puts you in a different state of mind, you might say.
Right.
Anyway.
One of them statements of being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. So basically, these products that I was just talking about, these companies, what they make miniatures of everything. They make miniature maps, they make miniature dolls, they make miniature this boxcar that we're sitting in right now, this overpass. Imagine this, but scaled down Honey, I Shrunk the Kids style to like a tiny, tiny fraction of its actual size. Everything represented accurately.
Are we in the boxcar? In this miniature boxcar?
If we had the correct map, and if we had the right dolls of ourselves, and we had like everything around us miniaturized. Then we take this drug, which is referred to as candy, right?
Oh, I swear to God.
Sorry. Anyway, we take the drug, and what happens is you and whoever else you're with, the group that you're with, would get your consciousness would be translated into these dolls on these miniature maps, and you guys share this experience. And basically, your conscious would be in the same tiny doll as another person's conscious who just took the drug with you. So, like, there are these.
So you take the drug. Mm-hmm. You go into your miniature world, and you do whatever the fuck you want because it's a miniature world,
right?
So you can murder the other miniatures, you can rape them, you can do horrible things, you can turn the Boxcar into a Pegasus. You can do whatever you want,
kind of, yes.
And then once the drug runs off, boop, back in the body,
back to the real world. Yes, little hungover, little whatever. But
what if you take the drug too many times? Do you stay in the candy world forever?
No, you probably just like burn your mind out or some shit. I don't know. Nobody overdosed in the book, so spoiler alert.
You know what? That's a missed fucking opportunity.
I think it is actually. Now that you mention it.
If Philip K. Dick just thought like, what if they did overdose? What if they became the miniatures and the whole story becomes, I have to get inside my big boy body. So it becomes like a journey to the center of the brain where it kind of like crawls through his own mind.
I'd be interested to read
You see him fucking around with his own brain.
Yeah.
And he's trying to control his body Ratatouille style.
Jesus.
Think about that.
He really
I
did miss an
just made a better book.
He really did miss an opportunity.
Too bad he won't listen to this because he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead now. But anyway, I will say I think that if you're into that sci-fi, not quite fantasy, but like a serious sci-fi, weird out there thinking stuff like Blade Runner, like Minority Report, like Total Recall. If you're into that stuff, this book is absolutely worth reading. And like I said, 230 pages, moves pretty quick. But also be prepared to read the last 3 chapters like 3 times in a row, because I'll tell you, everything that happens, it's kind of hard to actually place. Like, it's just
too many big words, too many, like...
The concepts, just what he tries to communicate to you is like, I mean, it's kind of hard to follow, I guess I'll say.
I'll say that. That's definitely the way that I thought when I read Electric Sheep the very first time, because there were a couple chapters where I just had to reread because I was like, what the shit just happened?
Yes, it's just hard to... That's his writing style,
It's his style,
it's
yeah.
hard to follow, kind of.
It's a lot like, not so much in style, because, H.P. Lovecraft is very different, but he's also a writer where I'm kind of like, I kind of go back to be like, what just happened?
Right.
Whoa, this man's racist.
My God.
My
what are you
God.
saying to that poor boy? Some off-color stuff.
God damn it.
But anyway, yeah. So those are my thoughts about that particular book. And so I'd say, if you're into it, it's worth reading. I think it's totally consistent with his style, and I enjoyed it. I fully enjoyed it. So yeah. Anyway, that's my thoughts on those. Now, your most recent play of a game. What were you playing recently?
Oh, what was I recently playing? I've been playing that Sonic the Hedgehog Mania.
Ooh, what do you think of it?
It is quite excellent.
I like how you emphasize that quite. There was a lot of
quite
guttural rolling there.
Anyway, if you could do like a Gollum throat roll, I think. No, that's just Gollum turning into Goku.
Going Super Saiyan.
Give me the key of Summerworld's precious Freezer! I'm going to kill you again, Krillin. Deagle, my love. You punk bitch. Krillin kill count 12.
No, that'd be Yamcha. Yamcha's the one that was the bitch.
Yeah, he was.
But no, so Sonic Mania is essentially the true love letter that Sega has created for the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, because there's definitely been some questionability with the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise ever since he went full 3D.
Was that Dreamcast or was that after
that was Dreamcast.
Yeah.
As soon as the Dreamcast day started, it was pretty questionable.
I remember that Sonic Dreamcast game was like the big one when that system launched. They used the Sonic game as like part of their marketing of it.
It was like, oh, well, because it was Sega's last home console, so of course it's like, yeah, look at our mascot. Look at Sonic.
Remember? Look what he's doing now.
Look at Sonic. He runs in 3D.
There's
Whoa.
water and shit. It's like a real world.
The story's so deep. Look at his best friend, Big the Cat. Whoa. Whoa, he's fishing for frogs.
Coming right at you. Whoa.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Free to pet. Whoa. He did not do great.
Okay.
It did not do great in the 3D realm. There are a couple really good 3D games. There's like half of Unleashed. That's the one where he turns into a werewolf hedgehog, a werehog.
What?
So the game starts out great. Not the opening cinematic because it's dumb, and not walking around the town because it's dumb. All that stuff is dumb. But when you get to the very first running level, you're like, oh, he's moving fast. he's running fast. There's no gimmick. It's just him running. This is great, right? And then there's a night system. It turns to night, and you turn to the werehog, and it becomes a God of War clone.
Oh, really?
So, for no explanation, just for the
fighting?
For the sake of doing it, Sonic's arms are stretchy.
Oh, and you start whipping people like with the Blades of Chaos. Yeah,
Pretty much. He whips his arms around like the Blades of Chaos, and it's terrible.
This doesn't sound anything near like a Sonic game.
No, like half of it is a Sonic game
Sonic
because you
runs.
run.
He runs
and you
away
jump.
and he runs toward things, and that's how he fights.
He jumps and runs.
Right.
And he scoots and scats.
Yeah, and spins
He
in his
eats-
little ball.
He
And,
eats chili dogs, and he talks about how he loves Blink-182.
right, and frees those little animals from Robotnik.
Oh, the little animals haven't been a feature in any of these games since, I think, the Dreamcast
Come
ones.
on, dude.
Yeah, man. They haven't had any of the tiny animals in those robots.
What
They're just
about
robots.
what about Mania? What about this most recent game?
Mania is a full-blown sequel to Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles.
Okay.
Like, so the entire aesthetic style to it and its gameplay, its look, its feel it looks and acts exactly like the Genesis games. So they lowered down the poly. Like, it's not 16-bit. It's a little higher, but it's not high enough to be like, oh, whoa, PS1 days.
Right.
It's still staying in, like, I would say the Sega CD era, where it's not quite powerful, but a little bit more powerful than what the Genesis was capable of doing. And it's wonderful. Like, the entire presentation to it that's something that Sonic games have always been good at. Music and level design.
Yeah, the
and
scheme, the whole look and feel.
the look
of those
and
games,
feel of
yeah.
Sonic games are always good, even the bad ones, because they have a style and an attitude to them. Where you look at like a Sonic the Hedgehog stage and you're like, oh, this looks like the cover to a vaporwave
Right.
fucking album,
Right.
where you've got statues of David floating by and pink Corvettes driving through its face, and it keeps up with that attitude. It keeps up with the funkiness of the original soundtracks, where it's...
Oh,
Excuse me.
pardon you.
Sorry, I had
all right.
too many rats in me.
Oh, that's okay. I did see a lot of tails sitting around here.
I had one, sorry, hanging off the
You
tip
know,
of my
I'm
lips.
starving, right? You know that I'm starving.
Well, I'm sorry, but first come, first serve in the
see-
boxcar.
Well, there's like 5 tails right next to the car. You seem like you feasted. You didn't save me one of them?
No, fend for yourself, dude. Like,
Damn it, I'm like emaciated
outside
over
the
here.
boxcar, it's fend for yourself.
Fine. Great.
Yeah.
I have to hope somebody tosses some fries or some shit out of a car when they pass by overhead.
Just stand underneath the L and open up your mouth. You'll find something.
That's what I do. But usually I get like a shoe or dirty rainwater.
Well, speaking
a
of
spark.
speaking of sparks and dirty shoe water, Sonic has lots of dirty shoe water.
That sounds great.
But no, this game is fantastic. It feels exactly like I was, 4 years old again playing these games.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like just a homage. It feels like it's a continuation of the original games. It feels like a legit sequel to the series because it plays almost exactly like Sonic the Hedgehog 3. but it's definitely improved on it. So it's improved on its level design, it's improved on its sprites because everything is really animated and really lively.
Totally.
I'd say the only downside to it is, so there's 12 stages in total.
Mm-hmm.
Only 4 of them are new stages.
I see. The rest are like recycled from old games.
All of them are recycled from the very first 3 games and Sonic CD, but
Are they redone?
they're completely redone.
That's
So
nice.
I think the best example to do that is the second level is Chemical Plant Zone. So if anyone has ever played the original Sonic the Hedgehog 2, very second level, you go into like a power plant level.
Uh-huh.
And there's like blue toxic goo being thrown around, and there's a lot of tubes that you have to go through. The level mechanics teach you about Sonic drowning because he can't be in water.
Right.
And it keeps some of that level design in it, but then it changes it into the second act. So every level has 2 acts. It's the first act is pretty much what the original level was from the original game, with a few minor changes. You fight a mini-boss, and then you go into Act 2. And Act 2 changes these classic levels completely on its head. So Chemical Plant Zone, instead of just worrying about drowning and being stuck in giant pools of water, this time what you're doing is you're trying to change the chemical properties of the water to be like a jello substance, and you use that for jumping and momentum. And
Interesting.
And it's different creative ways to make you change how you think of the level and how it's going to perceive.
So in this newer game, Sonic, you're able to sort of manipulate the environment to have different effects on your movement and to get to new areas and stuff like that.
There's another level later on where it's basically the ice stage, and what you have to do is allow yourself to be frozen, and then make sure that your frozen body ends up on a slope. So then your body slides down and you pick up momentum, and in your frozen body, you're able to break through ice blocks that you couldn't do normally.
Cool.
Because you need that momentum.
Right.
The game really focuses on like movement and weight and making sure that you have the right properties to go through an obstacle. There's also like little tiny details in the levelscapes. So like you get a fire shield, protects you from all forms of fire attacks. You don't get hurt by that. If you walk on a wooden bridge, it burns. If you go into a lake made of oil, the oil catches on fire and it becomes a stream of oil fire.
Damn.
Like fire rivers. It's amazing. The level of detail in it is incredible. And it's made not by Sonic Team. It's not made by any of the original developers.
Really?
It's all new guys. They're all fucking ROM hackers.
Interesting.
So the story behind it is the creator, Christian Whitehead, or the main programmer, he was a ROM hacker, and he hacked a way for iOS and Androids to play the original Sonic the Hedgehog games. So he put Sonic CD and he put Sonic 2 onto iOS as a ROM hack, widescreened, 1080p, 60 frames a second. It looks fantastic. Sega shuts it down because they're like, yo, you just took our property and you're trying to profit from it on...
Copyright, bruh.
Yeah, but Sega saw what they did and they were like,
actually,
wow,
maybe you can come do that for us.
That's legit. So they let him take what he had already built, and they said, okay, we're only going to take a portion of this, but we're going to put this on the store now, and we're going to put your name on it. And he's
Excellent.
like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it. So then he pitches to Sega, hey, how about we make a new Sonic game just like the Genesis games, because this is what I like live in. This is what I'm really good at. So Mania feels like it's a game for fans that celebrates everything that's great about being a disgusting little blue horrible
hedgehog
monster.
Piece of shit.
Hedgehog
Something that doesn't
piece of
look
shit.
anything like a real life hedgehog.
Do you think, you know what? I think Sonic litters.
You think so?
I think,
Wait,
the way
before we move on, are there little animals in Mania? Do you save little animals?
Little
from
animals
Robotnik?
pop out of the robots
Boom.
after you blow them up.
Boom, boom, boom. That's all you had to say. I'm in.
No, you don't say Sonic Boom, because that's a bad game.
Sonic Boom.
Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom.
So
Sonic.
is this on PlayStation? Is this on?
Yeah, so this is on PS4, Xbox One, the Switch, and PC. The PC version will not be out until the 28th.
Gotcha. Well, it sounds great, and I will definitely pick it up on the Xbox Store because I love some old classic Sonic.
You love some Sonic?
Well, especially like you said, if it's, nostalgic, if it hits all the old points of the classic Sonic games, but with new levels and new content and kind of like a new design thing, that sounds excellent. That sounds like a blast.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't feel like it's a ROM hack. It just feels like it's a sequel, and
Cool.
that's what makes it so good.
Cool. All right, we've hit a book, we've hit a video game.
Yeah.
I would like to briefly. I was debating not doing this because I haven't finished this series yet.
Yeah.
But I started watching just this weekend, yesterday, the Marvel Defenders series aired on Netflix.
Oh boy!
Right?
So, considering that this is our very first episode, I feel like we should discuss our overall feelings towards the Marvel TV universe.
Sure. That's a good point.
Yeah.
That being said, I will say that since 2008, which is when the first Iron Man movie came out, right? So in the last 9 years, I feel like the market has become completely super saturated with superhero movies. And TV.
This is our Western.
Absolutely.
This is the millennial Western.
Absolutely. And when Disney got into it, and now there's the production company itself of Marvel that's just churning out this same product, but with different heroes and different, side characters.
It's got
the template.
This one has kaleidoscopes,
Right.
Don.
Right. Right, exactly. But the template, the journey is still the same. I had this feeling when I was watching Doctor Strange a few months ago. I had never seen the movie before, but it was like I'd seen it 100 times. Different characters, different dialogue, different context. But it's the same movies.
Well, a different dialogue, quote unquote, but like it's always the same punchy lines.
Exactly.
It's always the same kind of like punchy joke.
Exactly. And you just, especially with the origin ones, where it's a hero becoming the hero, you just know that it's going to be the same thing. So with that being said, I've been kind of ambivalent about the Netflix Marvel heroes. I enjoyed Daredevil. I watched that. That was the first one that came out. I liked the first season of it. I thought it was good. I at first didn't like Jessica Jones, but my mind was changed about it by a friend of mine. I watched it twice. I thought it was decent. Kilgrave was a great part of that show. David Tennant is fantastic.
Yeah,
right?
The ending of it is bad.
Yeah.
The ending is very bad.
It is bad.
I think the last episode that's really good about it is right before he escapes the little underground water
right. Yes.
safe that he's put in. Spoiler alert.
Right. Sorry, spoiler.
These shows have been out for a while.
Yeah,
if you're
exactly.
watching Defenders, you've watched.
You've
all
probably
4 previous
led up
seasons.
to it. And since we mentioned those two, I'll say I did not watch all of Luke Cage. I watched the first 4 episodes of it. I felt that was enough.
That show got worse faster than Jessica Jones.
From what you've told me, it seems like I made the right call pulling out of it a little early. And I didn't watch any of Iron Fist. I was not interested. I was not at all interested.
You are very much better off because that show is atrocious. And it's I know everyone had this complaint of like, oh, it's, Iron Fist. It's about this white guy that's a kung fu expert. I'm like, yeah, but that's what the comics were.
Right.
What you need to do is write him better. It isn't the fact that his character is just, obnoxious, privileged white kid. It's more along the lines of like, we needed to focus better on his character. Was he an asshole or was he super like monk-wise? He was Buddhist and he believed in everlasting peace, and the show could never make up its fucking mind on whether or not he was an asshole or he was a pacifist.
Right.
And it couldn't pick one or the other.
Well, I will tell you that from what I've gleaned so far from Defenders, after having watched 4 episodes, which is just about halfway, I think there's 10, so I'm just about halfway there. In the first 4 episodes, it seems like that conflict has not been resolved. I feel that this whole time they have been building these individual series in order for them to cross paths and join in and become these
Look,
defenders.
it's the Avengers all over again, but with assholes.
But now they're on New York and they all hate each other, and it's just constant.
Wait, isn't that what the Avengers was? They
Actually,
were four
yeah.
guys in New York and they all hated each other?
Pretty much. I think so, yeah. But, so with the Defenders here, my first, one of the things that stood out to me right away, again, I didn't watch Iron Fist, so I didn't know what his story was leading into it.
Oh, boy.
And he's a big piece of the Defenders plot in this first season. He's like this, again, we're going to have some spoilers here. Sorry, we can't.
Well, he's the boy that has to fight the hand.
He's the boy that has to fight the hand.
He's got the big glowy hand.
He has the big glowy
so he can
hand.
fight the hand.
Well, he has that, but in this plot of the Defenders, it's also the key to what the hand are after. Their goal is to get eternal life, right? They need this material. They need these supplements or like something.
So they need to suck out the gold juju juice in his fist out. They need to
like Capri Sun. Someone just needs to pop someone needs to pop a pointy straw in his fist and just suck it right out.
Just wait
and then
until
they'll
the
be good.
Sunny D glows into his knuckles and just.
Boy, that's finger licking good.
I taste the immortality.
So the hand's goal is that they're looking for this substance which will continue their ability to renew their lives. They die and then they're able to be brought back. Iron Fist is the key for them to letting them into this area, which is walled off by magic, and this is the only place they can get some of this substance. So Iron Fist is a big part of the plot of this book,
boring.
right? It is of the show, my bad. But yes, it's really, and especially I will tell you, the first 2 episodes, hard to watch actually. And I don't mean because of plot stuff. I mean because of just basic continuity of a show.
Pacing.
I'll give you an example. There was a scene where Jessica Jones is calling somebody to try and track down a phone number. Someone called her, used a voice changer to try and throw her off some case. She's trying to track this guy down. So there's a scene where she's right in front of somebody and she uses a different voice and she's trying to trick a customer service rep into giving her a phone number over the phone. She spends about a minute or 2 minutes trying to convince this person on the other side of the phone to give her a number, right?
Is it funny? Is she
no.
Is she making jokes?
She does a unique voice. She does she does her thing where like Jessica Jones is like dark, she drinks, she's flawed, she's all,
she's
badass
all
chick, right?
And no substance.
So her fake character, the person she plays on the phone when she's trying to throw people off that it's not her, is like this upbeat Valley Girl type. So she's just like, oh, thanks, that's great. You know what I mean? Like, that's the funny part, I suppose, of like this scene.
Man.
But my gripe with it, my problem, is that they spend a minute or 2 minutes of screen time, her chasing down a phone number. Then she says, oh, you can? Great. And then she hangs up the phone and moves on as if she got the phone number. But she never wrote down a phone number. She never got the thing that she was chasing in this scene. But they move on as if she did. So that example, and there's a lot of other things like that where it's a continuity thing, right? When you're watching somebody and you want them to, she's obviously trying to accomplish something so that she can take the next step in her journey. And you as the audience member are watching her fight to take that next step. But the thing she was chasing, you never get that validation. You never get the payoff of seeing her write down the phone number and
like
call it or
really
whatever.
Bad editing and really bad acting.
That's what I'm trying to say, is that in the editing, it feels like it was thrown together. And it feels like, especially in the first 2 episodes, it feels so disjointed because you have each individual hero. Another spoiler, they don't meet up until episode 3. Like none of them meet each other until the 3rd episode of Defenders. So the first 2 episodes is kind of like just continuing all their individual series. It's just in one.
Well, this is the problem that I think all these Marvel things are going to have now because they're trying to do, branching universes. Because this is going to be the huge problem with Avengers Infinity Wars. There's going to be too many fucking people on screen to pay attention to. Because when you're thinking with the Defenders is, not only are you thinking of these 4 main characters, but you got to add in every single side character associated with them.
Yes.
So you got to think of Foggy and whoever
the reporter
Daredevil
chick
the
from
reporter
Daredevil,
girls,
right?
Yeah. And then you've got fucking Jessica Jones's like adopted
Trish,
sister,
the radio host girl, the heroin addict guy.
And then with fucking Iron Fist, you got his girlfriend. And Luke Cage, you've got Claire, you've got Rosario Dawson. It's like, come on.
I know,
there's so much going on screen. And the fact that you didn't really flesh out your characters that great in their own series.
That's the
you
problem.
expect this to fucking work in
Right.
a foursome going on here. That's the problem with these shows. Like, they want another Avengers. They want that, like, big payoff. But the thing was that the Avengers took its time. We didn't get the Avengers until, what was it, 2012?
Yes, that's
when that came out? So Iron Man comes out in 2008. Mm-hmm. And it's 4 years building up to that. And it was...
And then other hero, Thor, I believe, came out between then.
Oh,
Hulk,
yeah,
Hulk
because
movie.
we had 2 Iron Man movies, Captain America, Thor, and the Hulk.
Yes.
So it's 5 movies to help flesh out your Avengers movie.
Yes.
And granted, like, half of those movies did not do well. They were okay at best. But the thing was, there was still a build-up to it.
Right.
And there was actual, like, character flaws in everybody. And it was so well-written and well thought out, because that's how Joss Whedon really likes to make his films.
Yes.
That it made the Avengers such a fucking hit.
Yeah, it made it better that way.
Yeah,
right.
because even though there were so many characters that cluttered the screen, we already had spent time getting to know these people, whereas Marvel now just wants to rush to the meetups.
Absolutely.
It doesn't want to focus on making, good character content, which is essentially what Marvel should be.
Yeah,
Any
absolutely.
fucking superhero is. You're not watching a superhero movie for something fucking deep.
No, of course not. It's an action movie. You want to see...
It's a fucking action movie.
You want to see the
people
explosions, superpowers, chicks in ridiculous outfits, and then you want the good guys to win.
I want to see Thor put a hammer through the skull of the Hulk.
Right. I want Bruce Banner to have to struggle with the qualms of intergalactic physics and then go to Planet Hulk and
I want
beat
Black
everyone
Widow
up.
to not have a movie yet.
Yeah.
Eat shit, Marvel. You have not made a fucking Black Widow movie yet?
I know, and she's in everybody else's movies, and how has her character not been, as you said, how has she not been flushed out? Why doesn't she have an individual story?
You know what? No. I will defend her on that one, because Captain America, the Winter
Soldier was kind of
super fucking good, and she is like...
She's a big part of that movie.
She's like the side character.
Yeah, I agree, but that's...
She's like the secondary protagonist.
But it's still not... She doesn't have a Black
Widow
Widow
movie.
It's
not a fucking Black Widow movie.
Right.
And we still don't have one.
Although, to be fair, though, I guess we don't have one of those for Hawkeye either. We don't have one
for Hawkeye.
I certainly don't. No, I don't.
Hawkeye's the
How many
Cyclops
arrows can you shoot? Although interestingly enough, the CW does have Arrow, and that's in season fucking 5 or whatever.
Yeah, but that's
I guess you can shoot a lot of fucking
Bruce
arrows.
Wayne type man.
I know.
Who becomes mayor of some dumb fucking city, and he's
Yeah.
like, I'm just gonna Robin Hood this shit.
Yeah.
Whoop-a-doop-a-doo.
Yeah, he's always running around rooftops and shooting
Hawkeye's
shit.
just a dude with a bow and arrow. It's like, all right, what's your big character flaw? I have a family in the middle of like Oklahoma.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
What are your
sometimes go back
What are
to.
your struggles? I don't know. Like, I have a hard time paying rent.
I got a farm. Sometimes the
I have
crops
a farm.
don't do so well.
I have a farm, but I don't have any animals.
No
to
animals
feed.
at all. My family's eating each other.
My family is reduced to going to the local grocery store.
You know how much we got to pay for that? It's a food desert.
You don't understand how much locally grown eggs cost.
And you think I get paid well being an Avenger?
Do you know how to grow eggs?
No.
It takes a while.
That's right. I planted 12 of them this morning.
I had to make some myself.
Yeah, so anyway, back to just...
No one wants a Hawkeye movie.
No one wants a Hawkeye movie, and I will say that so far, from what I've gleaned from the Defenders, it suffers from all the same problems that the two final series leading up to this, Luke Cage and Iron Fist, the same problems they have, those are not solved now that all these heroes have met up. It still feels unfinished. The whole thing feels rushed. Even the payoffs, seeing them fight together, there are a few cool scenes. There are kind of like in that one, but you always know when the cool scenes are coming because like the footage gets better. The camera frame rate gets better. Like you always know when it's like a dope fight that's about to happen because all of a sudden it's like, oh, things are moving fast now, and like the music picked up, and like
Here's the
it
budget.
starts to spin. This is where everything went to, exactly. So you know when those are coming. And so there were like 2 of those at the end of episode 3 when they're meeting up and they're all fighting together and stuff. There are a few cool scenes seeing them work together. And you hope, just like with the Avengers, the real payoff of watching them is seeing these heroes partner up and like combo each other's powers to defeat like the enemies. That's the cool part.
I'm waiting for Matt Murdock and Luke Cage to double penetrate Jessica Jones.
God, if Murdoch can find any hole to do, I'm sorry, isn't that
he uses his mind's eye. He just thinks about it and he's like, oh, found the stank.
Found this. Let me follow it. Yes, dude. Can I still just say, no matter what they do, and even though I enjoy Daredevil as the show, they still cannot get me to buy into a blind superhero. I'm sorry. I just can't. Him flipping around and doing ninja shit based on his sense of smell, and like he can hear that there's a fence next to him and jump up to a fire escape.
I gotta say, when he was in his black ninja gear for the very first season,
well, yeah,
that's when I was like, okay,
I was into it. I was
this.
into it too, but they still don't really explain, like,
they don't need. Well, they do explain it, Don. Like they're like, okay, I have superpowers, and I spent time with this old blind assassin man.
Well, I got chemicals in my eyes as a kid, and then I was trained as a ninja.
Someone jizzed into my eyes, and it made me super strong.
Right, and then I was orphaned and lucky enough to be taken in by this master, and now I'm a hero. It's like I understand your point that it's Marvel and like it's fiction. It's a superhero movie. They're not going to give me.
There's points of it where I'm like, yes, this should be fun. This should be fun and fancy free. The problem is when you make this show mature for a mature audience and you write it like it's fucking like CW trash.
Right.
That's
and they
where
do.
I'm like, guys, you have the money because they have these extraordinary like fucking cast members. You got Sigourney Weaver.
Totally.
You've got all these big name fucking actors.
The guy who what's his name? Vince
D'Onofrio.
Who plays
Vince
Kingpin?
Italian Cookie Man. Yeah.
He is fantastic in that role. He's great.
Oh yeah, they have picked the right people for the cast.
Right.
The problem with these shows is the writing.
Right.
The writing is atrocious.
Absolutely. I do. I like the cast.
It either moves way too fast or it moves fucking slow as shit.
Molasses, man. Yeah,
like,
you just can't.
The beginning of Luke Cage, that thing moves like fucking nothing. It's just beat.
Well, and I'll tell you,
happy old man dies second episode.
Right.
It's like, oh, we didn't have time to actually establish the relationship between the main character and this father figure, and you're just gonna kill him now and be like, oh, well,
and the audience is still supposed to feel bad that this old man has died, but it's like, why would I? You didn't show me what he means to Luke, right?
And these shows have a habit of spending like their first half of their show really setting up the world and making it incredibly interesting. Because Jessica Jones was the first time I noticed it. Because like season 1 of Daredevil was okay. Like during its middle, it had its ups and downs. But what made it so good is because of Kingpin.
Yes,
Kingpin is such a good villain.
Yes.
He's so well acted. And the thing is that I found Kingpin so fascinating is that he's likable.
Right.
And it isn't like I like him because he's evil. Because
he's such a badass.
No, I like him as a character.
Right. You feel for him. They give you a reason to empathize because they give you his backstory. And then you do empathize with him.
You totally understand his point of view, and that's what made the first season of Daredevil so interesting. This thought process of pure blind justice or this town cannot be saved. Humans are fucking terrible. So the only way to beat it down is to force it.
Yeah, right.
It's that kind of belief where I'm like, yes, this is the kind of stuff that these Marvel TV shows should be doing. Then Jessica Jones comes up, and it comes up with this great like beginning of forced rape, of a forced rape story. not like actual rape,
not
but
physical, but like mental almost. Because
it is 100% mental. Like you're
because
forcing people to
yes,
do things.
that's Kilgrave's power. The villain in Jessica Jones is that he can manipulate anybody in their mind just simply by speaking a command to them. He can make them do anything he wants to, and he can put them under his spell somewhat indefinitely, it seems. And Jessica is like the first person to break away, and that's the obsession. Kilgrave, another excellent villain, who really is, that to me was when Jessica Jones got good, was basically in episode whatever it was, 3 or 4, when you finally...
it was episode 4 when he was finally introduced.
You finally meet Kilgrave, and that guy makes the show. Again, David Tennant just killed it.
The episode where he recreates her childhood home, I was like, this is so fucking good. Mm-hmm. And then she puts him in that safe.
Right.
And everything just fell apart.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what was going on with the writers' heads.
I could really just not. I mean, it gets to a point where, as you said, you just can't really even pay attention to it anymore. You're like, I just want this to end. I want to know where the story ends up, and I don't want to sit here dragging myself through this swamp of like shitty context
It's so bad. Yeah. It's so bad. It's like fan fiction writing.
Yeah, basically.
Of just like nonsensical things happening for the sake of them happening.
You just made me think of something else they said in Defenders. There's a moment when Jessica Jones, and here's another funny part. They didn't flush out these characters, as we said, like for instance, in Luke Cage's case. We don't know what it is that makes him bulletproof. In his show, they have like gone up to that, and they give you a certain degree of explanation. But at some point, the writers essentially have the characters look at the camera and say, "Don't worry about it." That's what they're trying to tell you. Is that it's like,
well, you didn't finish Luke Cage, did you?
No, I didn't. So do they explain it?
They try to,
and it was that bad.
It's just like, the acid has to be really hot, and that's what caused him to give him the stone wall skin or whatever, and. It's it's either you over-explain the superpower or you under-explain it.
And in Defenders, there's a moment after they all meet up where they're poking fun at each other and their powers and whatnot, and Jessica Jones essentially asks Luke Cage for an explanation. Like, why? What the hell happened to you? What is this? And Luke basically just looks at her and says, like, it's bulletproof, and that's all you need to know. Like, that's it. It's a moment where you have these heroes who can relate to each other, who even have like similar powers, and it would be a perfect moment for him to explain to her exactly what it is that brought him to this situation. And he brushes it off, says, "Don't worry about it."
You know what? I'm gonna say that's fine, because going into Defenders...
That bothers me.
But you can't
That's lazy writing.
You can't go into Defenders without seeing the previous 4 seasons. This is what this Marvel fucking cinematic universe is. Every season is just a season leading up to the Defenders. It's all part of the same show.
But did I need to watch Iron Fist? Really? Did I need to see that?
You shouldn't have to, because it was fucking abysmal.
That's why I stopped watching Luke Cage, and that's my point.
That's why I don't want to watch Defenders.
It is. I understand.
It's the fact that people still want to watch these shows, and I just don't understand it. It's like people who think that Gotham is a good show.
I know.
Gotham is not good.
I know, but it's like it's like everyone's engaged in this like fantasy of convincing each other that they're justified in spending their time watching it, you know? It's like all this network, Fox just produces it and people watch it. And I'm like you said, I've watched episodes of Gotham and I don't see any appeal. It's a prequel. We all know where everything goes, and none of the really good stuff happens until later on, long after the events of Gotham. They did turn
child Poison Ivy into an adult with a child's mind. You know about that one?
No. I don't watch it.
Oh, boy. Like, fucking Poison Ivy, she's forced into the Poison Ivy, like, experiment that turns her into a hot, sultry, plant woman.
Yeah.
But she was a toddler in the series when it started.
Whoa.
And they turned her into a busty adult.
But with a child's mind?
With a child's mind.
So she's like 2 years old mentally?
Yes.
But like a sex goddess
physically. A sex goddess physically.
So is she like, does she speak? Does she have a grasp of like the language?
Oh, she can talk because she was old enough to, speak and shit.
But she's just like a little
She's
kid.
a fucking little girl.
Is it well acted?
No. Okay. Gotham?
Okay.
Good acting?
Hey, I'm just wondering. I mean, like, you were saying it like that was an appeal, like that was a draw to it.
No, it's not a draw to it. It's like, that's how bad these shows are. Ugh. I don't understand the writing process of this. Like, you finish the draft of this, You brought this to the actors. You brought this to the director, and they went, "Oh wow,
Perfect.
wow."
Perfect. This is exactly what we were looking for.
I need to fuck this child.
Yeah.
The only thing going through the director's mind was, how can I get away with pedophilia?
Right. Roman Polanski
know.
salivates watching fucking Gotham. He's like, yeah, I get it. I get this shit.
I know the loophole. It's not creepy anymore.
Right.
She's an adult.
Right. Watching it from his fucking bunker in
She
Poland
can
or
have
wherever
children.
he is.
She is old enough.
This is okay now, right? I can come back to the States. That's what I imagine Roman Polanski's like.
It's like Randy Quaid and his fucking
Yeah.
Canada RV.
Oh my god, those videos on YouTube of him and his wife are the most disturbing fucking things. Like, how is that guy related to Dennis Quaid? How does that happen? You've seen Dennis Quaid, you've seen Randy Quaid. Were all the good genes used up on You know what I mean? Like,
Probably.
Yeah, that has to be what it is.
Do you think the Quaids picked their favorite one amongst them?
It seems like that. Like Dennis, not only did they give him the good genes, but Dennis was fed the right food and kept in sunlight. And Randy was kept under the stairs and fed nothing but negativity and probably beaten and shit. Yeah, that's what I think their childhoods were
they
like.
filled up a shoe with dry spaghetti noodles, uncooked, and here's your dinner.
Threw
you
it
piece of
down the stairs.
And he's just do I have any spaghetti sauce? And they throw him a half-empty bottle of fucking ketchup.
Tomato paste. There you go. Enjoy that.
They give him melted warheads. They're eat that.
Oh, that's right. He's like, I already have a hole on my tongue from all the warheads.
And you wonder why he got so fucked up. You know what? Maybe that's what the superhero origin for Luke Cage was that he didn't explain. It's how'd you get bulletproof skin? My mom fed me melted warheads as a kid.
Dude.
Funneled it right down my throat.
That's
and made
probably
me
what
bulletproof.
it was. Yeah, and eventually it's he just can't feel anything anymore.
The only thing he can feel is warheads.
Yeah, and they're not around, so it's he's just, that's my only weakness.
That's what his weakness always was. You just build a warhead gun, and you just shoot warheads into him.
And he just keeps trying to catch him in his mouth and shit. And
he's like, "No, Mom, please don't." He just
Mom
has
and Daddy, no.
traumatic episodes every time someone shoots him with a warhead gun.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, I'd buy into that.
See, that's way more interesting than just sitting at a Chinese restaurant going, "I'm blind."
Yeah, it is.
I punch good.
It is. Punch real good.
Me punch good.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess, all things considered, unfortunately, Defenders is just really not worth watching. I didn't think the 2 or 3 scenes I've seen in the first...
Are you really going against the internet right now?
I'll go against the internet all fucking day. The internet is overall
You know where our
stupid.
boxcar is, boy. We're waiting for you.
Come on down, internet.
Come on down. I have fried rats.
Yeah. Well, most of them are consumed, but we got the tails.
No, they're all gone too.
Shit.
I'm sorry.
What am I going to eat?
I mean, you've got perfectly good toes. You got frostbite on a couple of them, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
That's just
rough winter.
See, that's just crispening.
But yeah, so that's basically that's where I'd like to end up on that. I suppose I'm probably not going to finish the series, to be quite honest with you.
It's becoming more and more predictable, and I even felt that way with the new Guardians of the Galaxy, and I really like those movies because they don't feel like they're part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They just feel like they're fucking space movies. But I know that they're going to start having to force the Marvel shit into it, and cinematic universes are just getting fucking boring now.
I know.
And they're failing too. Look at the monster movie franchise that failed.
Oh god, gee. Yeah, I know. The one that hasn't even started, King Kong, you mean the
No, King Kong
or the Mummy. Are you talking about the Mummy?
I'm talking about the Mummy.
Yeah.
It was going to be the Mummy, the Bride of Frankenstein.
Right, Invisible Man, right.
Yeah, that shit. And I'm like,
Creature from the Black Lagoon,
why
right.
do you want to make a monster movie cinematic universe? Are you hoping for Tom Cruise to tie them all up at the end? So it can give the same stock scream twice?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just so that guys like Johnny Depp can play the Invisible Man and be like and feel cool about it. You know, it's like I agree. Or in the case of the Monster Universe, that's recycling it, right? You take movies.
You're taking movies that have already been well known.
They were
well
popular
established.
80, 90 years ago, and now you're just rehashing it. It's further showing that there's like nothing. It's a lot easier for Hollywood to recycle, to do a sequel, to do a remake or a reboot, than it is to fucking try and come up with something new and different.
That's why I say watch Baby Driver, because it's fucking original.
I will watch Baby Driver. I want to check that one out. That one has
Here we go.
been enticing.
Here's a review for you guys. Full blown fucking thumbs up with 2 devil emojis. Baby
yeah.
Driver is the shit because
yeah.
it's fucking original.
And that soundtrack is supposed to be really good too, right?
Oh, the soundtrack's amazing. It's because the whole movie is built around the soundtrack. Like everything is choreographed.
Because he's got tinnitus and he has to drive with headphones in, right?
The story isn't going to win points for like being fucking mind blowing. Like whoa,
it's an action movie though too, right?
I never thought of that.
He's an escape driver. It's a heist movie
it's
or
fun.
It's an action movie.
It's very fun. It's so well constructed and it's original.
Right,
it's something that hasn't been done. It's
Edgar Wright, man. You gotta love that guy.
And that's why I encourage you to see that instead of seeing just another fucking rehash of something that
Right.
It's not like Sonic where it needed to be rebuilt from the ground up to be fun.
Yeah.
This is like something that was built from the ground up and it wasn't fun to begin with.
Right. But seems like there's some city workers trying to sweep up the area around here around this boxcar.
Oh god damn it!
We're gonna have to get up and get out of here.
I don't have anywhere to sleep.
Don't get away from us.
Fuck off!
Back away. Go around us.
I have fire. Ah!
But anyway, thanks for tuning in, and we're gonna find another place to post up next week. Find some more content. We're gonna keep on reviewing.
Stay away.
And they can't stop us. There are overpasses all over the city, man.
I'll Sonic spin dash your ass into the ground.
We're going to find another place. We're going to post up, and we're going to review our stuff.
I'll ride you like Jessica Jones, you dumb bitch.
But thanks for tuning in, and this is Don.
And this is Greg.
We're signing off now, and we'll talk to you next week.
We'll bump back to you later. We'll come up with a better out.
Bye-bye.